marrying her because she's an illegal alien.
She doesn't have a father?
No, the illegal alien is someone who has snuck into this country. Wait a minute, you mean Maria snuck into this country? She didn't exactly sneak in. She just forgot to stop at the border.
And if they find out, they'll deport her, right?
And her mother. But if she marries me, she can stay here. Then we'll send for a mother later.
So you're going to marry her and have a wife and a mother-in-law?
That's right.
Quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Venezuela reportedly emptying its prisons, and those criminals are now entering the U.S. through our southern border. Quote, a recent Department of Homeland Security intel report received by the Border Patrol instructs agents to look for Venezuelan inmates released from entering the U.S. The report, reviewed by Breitbart Texas, indicates the Venezuelan government is purposely freeing inmates, including some convicted of murder, rape, and extortion.
Outkick host Tommy Lahren is here to react. Tommy, the other thing is that we don't have diplomatic ties with Venezuela, so we don't have access to their criminal database. The only way that we would know if a Venezuelan migrant has a criminal background is if they say it outright. What do you make of this?
When our former president Donald Trump said that some of these countries are not sending their best, this is exactly what he was talking about. Of course, people attacked him for saying that, but it's quite obvious what's happening. The Biden administration, with their open border, not only are they a magnet for people to come into this country illegally, they are also essentially operating as a travel agency for criminal organizations and countries that, quite frankly, want to send people that they don't want in their country to ours to deal with. We've got lawless on our streets, acts being committed by Americans. Then we're bringing in illegal immigrants that have records and rap sheets, and we don't even know their background. And then you add to that the number of gotaways that aren't even included in that outlandish total that you just mentioned to us, over 2 million. We've got the population equivalent of Ireland that's coming through our southern border since Biden took office. This is not sustainable. And Democrats, if they spent half as much time worrying about securing our border and actually enforcing our immigration law as they do trying to keep these migrants out of their cities and their shelters, I think we'd all be much better off. But we know that they just don't have the political motivation to do so. The question is, why? Yeah.
Imagine relaxing at home when a Venezuelan gang breaks into your house and make you do everything that they say. This is happening in Aurora, Colorado, and the Aurora mayor have confirmed that it is Venezuelan gangs.
So there are several buildings actually under the same ownership, out-of-state ownership, that have fallen to these Venezuelan gangs. I'm trying to walk it back and do the investigation as to how there's a concentration of Venezuelans in these three buildings. Somebody put them there, and somebody funded it. Whether it's federal government or not, we're trying to find out who. These gangs apparently are attracted to where there's a concentration of Venezuelan migrants. And so they've, in fact, have kind of pushed out the property management through intimidation and then collected the rents. We have now, or have had, it is ongoing operations with a task force of local law enforcement, state law enforcement partners, and federal law enforcement partners to root them out, and arrests have been made, but these operations are still ongoing.
With the arrests that have been made, are these confirmed gang-affiliated members?
You know, this is an organized criminal effort. Whether it's Tren de Aragua, that remains to be seen. But it really doesn't matter. I mean, if they're Venezuelan migrants and they're conducting crime in an organized manner, they're a problem.
So, okay, so you're able to confirm that this Venezuelan gang has indeed taken over at least some of the buildings. You're saying at least 2 of the 3. And what I just heard from you is you don't know how they ended up there. And you even made a suggestion that they could have been sent there by federal officials, I heard you suggest?
Well,
I mean, do you have any reason to believe that to be the case?
So here's the problem. I think we're a victim of a failed policy at the southern border because what you have, Venezuela does not, according to my law enforcement, Venezuela does not cooperate with the United States in sharing criminal histories. You've had a third of the country leave. You've had these massive waves of migrants coming across the border that many of them crossed the border illegally, were arrested, asked for political asylum, were not adequately vetted, were released into the country. The city of Aurora, we did everything we could to quite frankly, keep them out of the city because it's not our problem. This is a federal problem. This is a problem borne by the federal government. But what we're trying to find out, and what I believe occurred, was that federal agencies worked with some of our local nonprofits and put them there. Now, most of these people are very good people. But there's a criminal element that, from what I understand, what law enforcement is briefing me, that often follows them, intends to exploit them within their own migrant community. And so we believe that is happening now. Now, we're the 51st largest city in America with over 400,000 in population. This is only several apartment complexes. Yeah. But nonetheless, I'm not going to surrender any part of this city to a criminal element.
With all due respect, it's no longer, I mean, just in the hands of the feds when you've got... we've heard reports that this gang has green-lighted its members to attack your local police. What are you doing about that, Mayor?
Well, we're aware of that in the Denver metropolitan area, that there are elements of Tren de Aragua here. And so, we're, in terms of how our police operate, the tactics, what they're doing to protect themselves is our number one priority.
Finally, real information on the Venezuelan prison gang TDNO operating and spreading coast to coast.
The prison gang is spreading from coast to coast. Tren de Aragua, or TDA, was born out of Venezuela in a prison and has been linked to crime like this jewelry store heist in Colorado. News Nation obtaining a memo warning law enforcement that an estimated 1,000 TDA members have been given the green light to attack officers. News Nation's Alicia Nieves joins us now live from New York, where these gang members have actually shot at police. Alicia, how widespread is this gang?
Yeah, Anna, good morning. This is a violent Venezuelan gang. It's infiltrated U.S. cities across the country from coast to coast, becoming more brazen and organized, according to authorities. In just the last 2 months, we have had at least 3 major incidents on the West Coast and here back on the East Coast. Just this past week, as a matter of fact, authorities have linked a member of Tren de Aragua's gang members to a violent June jewelry heist in Denver. In nearby Aurora, Colorado, the gang is accused of taking control of a local apartment complex, using it as headquarters of their operation. And the footage you're seeing in a second here actually shows what lawyers representing several apartment complexes say is the gang seizing control of these apartment complexes, leading to gang violence and numerous code violations. Now, throughout the country, police departments, as you noted a moment ago, warned that the gang leaders have given members in the U.S. the green light to shoot officers. And unfortunately, that memo coming after an incident happened already here in New York City in June. As you said a moment ago, 2 NYPD officers were shot by a man living out of a migrant shelter. That man, Bernardo Raul Castro Mata, after his arrest, actually identified himself as a member of Tren de Aragua and allegedly told police that he crossed the U.S. border, came to New York, and when he got to the shelter in the city, the 19-year-old was recruited by the gang to commit robberies and even given a gun. Now, Castro Mata also told investigators that gang leaders actually have been instructing a lot of their members here in the U.S., especially here in New York City, to bring guns into shelters, and they're able to do so relatively easily by utilizing food delivery services because food is not scanned through the security system at these shelters. So this is obviously a growing concern, not only here in New York City, but again, across the country, from the West Coast to the East Coast. We do know federal agencies are on this and trying to work with local officials to curb this growing gang activity.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like if that's the weak spot, they need to start scanning the food trucks then as they're coming through. Alicia, thank you.
The Mexican who allegedly unalived the 4 Venezuelan immigrants in self-defense in Chicago near a lake now faces first-degree murder charges. Authorities have revealed how this argument ended in tragedy. Families of different nationalities were gathered at Lake Michigan. A Mexican approached some Venezuelans to politely ask them to turn down their music and stop the commotion. However, the Venezuelans took this as an offense and began to assault the Mexican and his family. The Venezuelans hit the Mexican's son with a broken glass bottle. The Mexican's reaction was to pull out a firearm and allegedly unalive the 4 Venezuelans who started the fight. Venezuelan immigrants need to understand they are no longer in their country. There is law and order in the U.S. Don't attack anyone. People will defend their own. We demand that our compatriot be released, as he was only defending his family from these criminals who came to the United States.
So this dude in Denver, it looked like a brother. He was going to his car and one of them Venezuelans tried to run up on him. And in a fight or flight state, bro upped. He got the ups on him, which is surprising. I ain't gonna lie, cause he had him draw down already. Like, he really wasn't even supposed to move like that, but he probably could sense like, man, he's shaky with that motherfucker. And he up, bruh, and that shit worked out. Luckily, they wasn't 4-5 deep. He was by himself. But it looked like that brother was trying to go to his car to get something real quick. And he tried to get up on him. The brother should have popped that nigga. The Denver native, you should have, like, everybody need to go to the range, bro. But a lot of times when shit be really happening, it's quick. But everybody be like, oh, if he was point blank, if that was me, I would have hit him. It's not how you think, bro. Bullets be going up and down. Like, as soon as the bullet go off the trajectory go, it's crazy, right? Like, even based off of your frequency, you could attract the bullet quicker. Like, it's a lot that goes to it. But I'm happy this brother survived, though, man. Denver, I don't know what y'all got going on. I don't know how this man is, this man better not get no type of repercussions for this. He need to get compensated for this, bro. This is a hate crime. What you talking about, bro? Coming from another country, robbing folks and shit. Ain't that terrorism? Oh, that means somebody's allowing it. Yeah. These cities broken crazy.
Big trouble here. I mean, these are 2 of the most dangerous gangs on the planet. They are prison spawn gangs. They come out of the muck and the slime of these South American prisons, which are their stronghold. They are on the lowest rung of the evolutionary ladder when it comes to organized crime. That means they're all strictly street crime, which is dangerous. They bring with them just mindless, knuckle-dragging violence. They kill with knives and machetes. MS-13 is well established. They're going to be the more dominant of the 2 gangs. They've been here for quite a while. And as you say, Dana, we knocked them down in late 2000s with just an international effort. But now they're coming back in and they're reestablishing themselves. And that bodes ill for law enforcement across the country. We're going to be living with this crime wave for decades. And I believe that Venezuela is emptying their prisons deliberately and sending these people up here, just like Castro did in the 80s.